Bialek is a business owner and community leader who is passionate about Shelton. Michele and her husband, Fred, opened liquid lunch soup and sandwich shops over 10 years ago. Fred is the chef, while Michele manages the business affairs of the shops. When their flagship location was destroyed in the fire of 2014, Michele wasted no time in moving forward. She and Fred and a business partner reopened a new full-service restaurant in the same location just 20 months later called Grow. Michele was the leader in the 2014 effort to pass full-day kindergarten in Shelton and is a volunteer mentor with the Shelton High School Mentoring Program. She's also the founder of the Turtle Shell Fund, a nonprofit that builds community through the arts and fills gaps in arts education. She grew up and now lives with her husband and children in the Corn Gardens neighborhood in Shelton. Timothy Bristol. Timothy Bristol is an official write-in candidate for mayor and not affiliated or endorsed by any political party. Timothy is 29 years old and has lived in Shelton most of his life. He is currently pursuing his bachelor's degree in history with a minor in political science and holds an associate's degree in liberal arts and science. Timothy works at Panera Bread here in Shelton. He has produced several independent films and enjoys writing. Timothy has been passionate about politics and history since he was young, especially American political history. He resides in the Pine Rock Park area of Shelton with his wife. Now I'd like to hand over the mic to Jean Rabinow.
Thank you. I really have to beat the mic. The rules for tonight are very simple. The candidates drew numbers earlier for the order in which they would get questions. We will alternate. First question goes to Mr. Bristol and then to Ms. Bialek. The second question goes to Ms. Bialek and then to Mr. Bristol and so on. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question, and if they wish to take it, 30 seconds to rebut or to extend their remarks. Shortly before the end of the hour, we will stop doing questions and we will give them an opportunity to each make a 2-minute closing statement. First question goes to Mr. Bristol first. Why do you believe that you are qualified for the position of mayor?
Microphone works? Okay. I believe that I am qualified to be mayor of Shelton because I have a comprehensive plan for Shelton, starting with government transparency and openness between the government and its people. Right now, we have a government that's closed off from its people, and people don't vote because of it. If you look in the recent articles in the Connecticut Post and the Shelton Herald, you'll see that Mayor Reddy no longer cares what we think. He's completely closed off, and he believes that I'm a joke, basically. But I'm here tonight to say that I am a member of this community, and as a member of this community, running for mayor is an honor for me. And the reason that the mayor's office is not a crown to be worn. The mayor's office is something that's bestowed on, it's something that's given to you by the people of Shelton. It's something that is honorable, and it's something that you should take pride in. I don't feel that the mayor currently takes pride in his job. His only campaign platform is, I keep taxes low. What else does he do? What's his plan for downtown? What's his plan for the rest of Shelton? What's his plan for the budget? The budget is done behind closed doors, basically. As mayor, I would force the departments to do their budget in the open where people can see. And as mayor, I would bring this community together. It wouldn't just be downtown Shelton, Pine Rock Park, Huntington, and White Hills. It would be the city of Shelton. And that's why I think I would make a good mayor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bialek.
I believe the things that qualified me to be the mayor of Shelton, the next mayor of Shelton. I'm entrenched in this city. I have 6 children in the school system, and I've fought hard for their rights because our city is not caring for them right now. We're at battle with the Board of Education, which is a department of the city. It's not the enemy. I have a business in town. I've had a business in town for over a decade, right downtown. I've watched things go by and not be done. Things that are being done are the things that have to be done. It's not new. They're not ideas. These are requirements of the state to clean up things that are poisonous. So it's not innovation that the mayor right now is doing with the downtown. It's not development. It's things that are necessary and better be done. I am Shelton. I'm a third generation Shelton girl, downtown Shelton girl. My grandma was raised here, my mom was raised here, and I was brought up feeling the feeling that you get when you're from here. I tried getting away, I did. And I came back. It sucks you back in because it's home. And the pride that I feel when my children go to Sunnyside, this very same elementary school that my mom went to, that I went to, it's a feeling that can't be changed. And I'm ready to take our city to the next era. We've done a great job building the business of Shelton. I'm ready to bring back the community of Shelton.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the audience to please hold off. No boos, no applause, please, until the end. Thank you. Anyone?
No.
Anything further? Okay. Next question goes to Ms. Bialek first. There are problems with the financial management of Shelton, including a lack of transparency. How will you give the citizens more of a vote in how our tax money is spent?
One of the ways that we can give our community a voice is by doing just what we're doing tonight and videotaping all meetings at City Hall and really integrating the internet and programs that are easily accessible from the state level on a municipal level. With an interaction, we can implement a 311 system, which is a back and forth communication online between the municipal headquarters and everybody in the community. It gives everybody an equal voice. And that's not happening right now. As Mr. Bristol stated, there are many closed door meetings, executive sessions that make decisions without our knowledge. And one of the biggest frustrations has to do with Sharon Scanlon. Over $900,000 was stolen over 8 years in a broken system. We rehired the very same auditor that missed 9 years of theft, did not change our processes, and rehired the same man. And they are still our auditors in the same process. After $900,000 of our money was stolen. That's not okay. Those are the types of things that we have to change. And communication is key. It's not productive the way it is now, and there are easy ways to make those changes.
Okay, Mr. Bristol.
Well, there is a large problem with our budget system, as Michele pointed out. We did have a lot of money missing. And the biggest thing for me is the transparency on the budget. We need to have a budget that the people can see, a process that the people can see, not behind closed doors, not, in shady backroom deals. We need a budget that can be accountable to the people. And the best way to do that is to give the voters a voice on the budget. My proposal is a voter referendum on the budget. The way this would work is the aldermen would get to approve the budget like they normally do. The mayor would get a veto on the budget if he didn't like it. And then finally, there would be a vote by the people of Shelton up or down on the budget. This would do two things. One, it would hold the government accountable to the people directly because they get to vote for the budget. Two, it would force transparency. Because if the people are, if the aldermen are voting one way on the budget and the people don't like it, the aldermen have to go back to the drawing board and think of a budget that the people will approve. Now, this is, I know, kind of a crazy plan, but there are other cities that do this. There are other cities that do vote budget by referendum, and I think it would do a lot to clean up the budget system in Shelton.
Okay, any further? Anything further? All right, the next question goes to Mr. Bristol first. Mayor already focuses on development downtown and on Bridgeport Avenue. If elected, what would your focus be?
If elected, as I said in the opening question, my focus would be all of Shelton. It wouldn't just be Howe Avenue. By the way, I lived on Howe Avenue for a couple of years, and I know what it's like down there. But I want to expand to all of Shelton. And the places where I would focus is traffic. The first thing I would do is an intensive traffic study on downtown Shelton and the Howe Avenue area. But I would also increase that study to the Huntington Square area, because that is another traffic problem that gets clogged up all the time. And my idea for this is if we have the information, if we do these in-depth studies on traffic and demographics, we can figure out how to fix the problems in downtown Shelton and how to fix the problems in Huntington Square instead of just having a vague idea of what we want to do. If we get the information and the research, then we can formulate a real plan around it. And the second part of my plan is to make Howe Avenue a more pedestrian-friendly place, a place people want to go. Expand the farmers market. Get new shops down there. I like Michele's Restaurant Grill. I'm definitely going to go down there a few times. But we need more stuff like that. And we need more family-oriented businesses and festivals down there. As for Huntington Center, which would be the other city center for me there aren't two downtowns. There are two downtowns. There's Huntington Square and Howe Avenue. Huntington Square I would make more community-oriented, more festivals on the Huntington Green. You know, maybe expand the music program that we have there already with the weekly concerts. Maybe we can do more about that. That's my plan for the city of Shelton.
Thank you, and that's time. All right, Ms. Bialek?
I agree with Tim, where the plan may come in the future for Tim. I'm already doing that. I've been in many talks with city leaders, business leaders, potential business owners. I've been having conversations with these people for years as a business owner, as a functioning business owner. And the plan that I see for Shelton is more functionally honoring those city centers, not just blanketing the whole city. We can highlight the centers of these towns in a village type mentality. And with downtown, we need a plan, we need a vision, a cohesive vision with building owners, with business owners, with community members, as well as a municipality. If we take this as a group effort with marketing and initiation of incentive programs with small businesses, we really take the core of our community, which is creativity and artisanship and small business fostering that we're not doing now. We all see Bridgeport Avenue, and that's a main vein. But when you take all of your eggs and put them in one basket, the arteries just fall off, your limbs fall off because you're not balancing the system. And I've already started these relationships between, you know, I do one of those festivals downtown. And I've created relationships with potential museum owners and other small businesses that could really foster the downtown mentality of cooperation and communication and celebration.
Thank you, that's time. Any follow-up?
Yeah. I believe that having those sort of connections and those business relationships are important, and I hope to develop those, but Howe Avenue isn't a problem because there's not business relationships there. Howe Avenue is a problem because traffic, and we don't know who's coming in and who's going out of Shelton. There's about 13,000 cars that go down that street every single day. But most of those cars are leaving Shelton. They're not coming back in. Sorry.
It's only 30 seconds on the vote. Anything further?
Yes, traffic is only one part. We have to take a comprehensive plan and create a vision, a marketing plan, and create the brand of Shelton, and that takes a much larger cooperative effort.
Okay, thank you both. Next question goes to Ms. Bialek first. It's a completely different subject. Do you support videotaping Board of Aldermen meetings? Why or why not?
Absolutely. Transparency, that's one word. And also accessibility. We're all busy people, and we all have so many things to do, and we can't get to meetings. And, that's a big frustration for, the people that do care and that are in town and want to know what's going on. We are too busy. We don't want to be, but that's the day and age that we live in. But along with being so busy, we have accessibility. A lot of us are up really late at night trying to fill ourselves in on the news once the kids are in bed and we can actually breathe. That's the only time that we have. So if we can just click and watch the Board of Aldermen meeting that we missed, that we wanted to see, absolutely we should have videotaping in our Board of Aldermen meetings, our Board of Ed meetings. I think that's already starting. Any meeting that we can access at home is more integrated community that we would have. And it gives us a voice that we just don't have right now. And if we can have a two-way conversation where we can watch these meetings, on DVR, I guess you can say, and have a means to communicate, any other questions or concerns back into the city via like a 311 program, then we could have an actual voice that can be heard and communicated back to. And I think that that's the next generation of our city.
Okay. Mr. Bristol.
Same question? All right.
Same question.
I totally agree with everything Michele says. I know I'm not supposed to agree in debates, but yes, I totally agree. I want to take that a step further. I want to create a forum where the people of Shelton can communicate directly with the mayor or the alderman and would get a direct response. Probably online or through the mail, or you can just stop by the mayor's office. That's fine too. But what I want to do is give that sense of community that the internet age seems to take away from us using the internet. And on top of that, I would, as mayor, create the position of community liaison, who would be responsible for managing Shelton's online presence. A revamped Shelton.gov website, the online forum I talked about, a revamped Facebook page, maybe even a Twitter if we're feeling good. But they would be in charge of organizing all of this and communicating with the mayor, who would be me, directly what the people want. And I could respond directly to that. Now, the reason that they're kind of an intermediary is because that's a lot of information to take in. There's almost 40,000 people in the city, and I could take the time to answer every email, and I probably will, but it's good to get that interpreted to me so that I can better help the people. And this position will be excellent for going out into the community and asking the people what issues they have with the mayor, or with the budget, or with education. And getting a response from the mayor is amazing. We don't have that right now. Our response from the mayor is, if you don't like it, then get out.
Of the state.
Of the state.
Anything further?
rebuttal?
This is rebuttal time, or extension.
No, I'm good.
Okay, anything?
I'm good.
Oh, you're good. Okay. Next question goes to Mr. Bristol first. If elected, how will you attract young families and young professionals to Shelton?
The way I would do that is through my inclusive All Shelton plan. I'm not going to kill you on the traffic anymore, that's a lot. The other part of that plan is developing Shelton into a place that young families want to come to with a revitalized education system, a technology-enhanced education system. Another way that I do that is through the inclusiveness of my transparency plan and making downtown an area that families want to be. I mean, when was the last time you went to downtown and said, I want to take my family there? Everything's all beaten up down there. I mean, with the exception of the Riverwalk. The Riverwalk is nice, but we need to expand on that. We need to beautify downtown. We need to bring in more restaurants and businesses that are family-oriented. And the education thing I was talking about, my plan there is a technology initiative. Basically, bringing Shelton's school system into the 21st century. I want to equip our teachers properly so that they can teach the many different styles that need to be taught today. I would do that through incorporating smart boards into the classrooms and better computer labs. I would enhance our programs in science, technology, engineering, math. These are the places where our students seem to be slipping, and we need to help them. And if we improve the education system, families will flock to Shelton, because right now, a lot of people in Shelton don't like our school system, and they're sending their children to private schools out of district. We need to bring those people here so that their kids can get the proper education and redevelop our population. Right now, our population is at 0.1% growth from now till 2020. Okay.
That's time. Ms. Bialek.
I do agree with the education, obviously, being so entrenched in the Shelton school system. We need to give our children the education that we can afford. And basically, the mayor's job is to trust the Board of Ed to do that. I may not tell them what to do with their money, but what I can do is open the communication lines right from the very beginning and trust that they know the rising costs of special education and transportation and all of the exponentially rising costs of education in our state and our country. But I have to trust them to know what they're doing. And that is one of the key elements of the mayoral position. We can't dictate what they can spend. That's the way that this goes. But we cannot stonewall their progress in what they want to do for our children. That's why I've seen the battles, and that's not cooperative. And I don't promise much because I don't like promises, but I do promise that I will have an open line of communication with the Board of Ed from the very beginning so that our children get the best education I deserve. No, that my children deserve, that our children deserve. And as far as other young families and young people coming in, we need culture. We don't have culture. We have Bridgeport Avenue. That's our culture right now. We need more theater. I mean, Center Stage is amazing and gorgeous and beautiful, but it's not given the place, the honor that it needs. And any type of culture that we can get in this city, we need to do it because we're not celebrating our city at all. We're just making a profit.
Okay, thank you. It's time also. Anything further?
Yeah. I agree on the culture thing. In fact, I'm a part of that artistic culture. I don't know if you heard it in the opening thing, but I've made a couple of independent films. I'm a part of the Valley film community, and I know that that culture is bubbling just under the surface. I want to bring it out. I want to inspire film and music and art and have those festivals, and it would be really easy to do if we just organized it.
Anything further?
Yes, I just want to point out that there are efforts with Celebrate Shelton as one. They have taken the initiative to do a handmade market, to have festivals and concerts where we didn't have them before. There's people that are already doing these things and they're not being supported right now by the city. They're being, saying, okay, well, just get it done, whatever, but we need it to be a cooperative effort from the municipality as well as these organizations that are already ready to do it. And I will do that.
That's also time. Next question goes to Ms. Bialek first. When the mayor and board of aldermen adopt the amount for the Board of Education, do you feel the full amount should be expended?
I can't answer that because I don't know all of the facts and figures. One of the biggest things that made me very frustrated in this past year's process was that the Board of Education came to the city with a very detailed, very thought out, very spelled out plan of what they needed and why they needed it. And then we get the mayor's budget proposal for the Board of Ed, and he said they need this amount. And when I asked very specifically, why? Why do you need this amount? Why do you think that the Board of Ed doesn't need the amount that they asked for? Why do you feel that they need a $1.5 million increase as opposed to what they asked for? Nothing. I got nothing. I didn't get any answers. So I cannot say yes or no to that answer because I don't know all of the facts. Once I'm in, I can take a look at all the sides. I can have the lines of communication open. We might need to have a compromise. Usually there is a compromise needed. I mean, you can't just say, sure, take all the money you want, because that has to be a conversation, many conversations. So I can't say yes or no to that answer because I believe it's a much larger process that's necessary to be able to create a good, balanced, and responsible budget for that.
Okay, Mr. Bristol.
I also can't answer that adequately because of facts and figures, but the question of should a department spend all of its money is something that comes up a lot in our budget process in recent years. Because our departments are, for some reason, overfunded, and we have, what, a $12 million surplus in the city that's just sitting there. So when you're asking if a department should spend all of its money, I think the real question you want is the department getting too much money. Now, education, the Board of Education gets to propose their own budget, and I can, as mayor, I can only accept or give them a rebuttal, but I would not fight the Board of Education on increasing their budget. They need it. And the technology proposal that I would ask of them, I wouldn't force anything on them, I would ask of them, is going to need money. But other departments in the city are being overfunded, and the money could be going elsewhere. The money could be going to our police department, or it could be going to help out our volunteer fire department, or our EMS services. There are a number of places that extra money can go, and we don't need a $5 or $6 million budget surplus every single time the budget comes up. Now, this has been a problem in the city for a number of years, and we've collected a large surplus because of it. And as mayor, I would go through the budget with the aldermen and find out where we can adequately spend money and appropriately spend money so that it's being used and not being wasted in a surplus that doesn't need to happen.
Okay, any rebuttal?
Yes, so I will expand on that as well, but I believe that the Board of Education was the topic, so.
All right, anything further?
No, I'm good.
All right. The next question is a follow-up about the surplus.
Okay.
And it is, what is your opinion about the $12 million surplus? Bearing in mind that the amount of surplus does also affect the bond rating.
Oh, that's for me, sorry.
This one, yes, Mr. Bristol, you get it first.
Okay. Wow, I feel like I just gave an answer. To expand upon that, I was talking to a few people outside, and they were talking about how at night, there's only a few police officers on duty. And if something happens, those police officers have to be called out. Who's there in case something else happens? Who's there in case, you know, there's a car accident somewhere and they need another police officer? We have half the police officers of cities of comparable size. And the police budget is smaller because of it. We could hire a few new officers and it wouldn't hurt us that much. In fact, it might even help us. And our fire departments are grossly underfunded. I don't know how many boot drives I have to drive through, but it's too many. We need to support our emergency services so they can help us in emergencies. And when they get hurt, we need to support them that way too. I mean, I know Michele's business was directly affected by a fire. I live right down the street from it. It was horrifying to be there. And I know that a firefighter or two got hurt. We need to make sure that the budget is spent adequately so that we can be safe in the city and the city can have everything that it needs. It's not just fire and police, sanitation services, education, everything. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
So what we need to do is restructure. The way that the budget is done now, it's overstated. And it's overstated on purpose. And the surplus is actually worked into the budget, which is not good practice. We need about a 5 to 6% budget surplus to keep our bond rating, which is what that part of the question was. And right now it's almost double that. And what that means is, if we were a corporation, we would be reinvesting that extra back into our corporation for the future, for structure, for programs, for things that make our company stronger and sustainable. And we are not doing that. And our budget is actually rolled back into the general fund. I mean, our surplus. And it's hidden. And we don't know what's going on with it because it's carte blanche for the Board of Aldermen to take from as they need it. And they might say in a general Board of Aldermen meeting, we're allocating this, this, and this from the general fund. But then there's also closed door meetings where they allocate certain funds that we don't know about. And there should be a line item for budget surplus. And we don't have that. We don't have a line item for a budget surplus. It's worked back into the budget for next year. So it doesn't even make sense to me. But we need a major restructuring of how we use our budget, how we budget our city's funds, our money.
Any rebuttal, Mr. Bristol?
Yeah, I totally agree. The budget needs to be restructured. And the other thing that has to happen there is that our city's expenditures need to be transparent. And I would do that by issuing a monthly statement to the public, online probably, of what exactly the city spent money on that month. So the public can track what the city's spending. And the city can be held accountable for where it spends money. That's it.
Okay, anything further, Ms. Bialek?
No.
Okay. Thank you both. Next one goes to Ms. Bialek first. When the new superintendent was hired, was a member of the Board of Aldermen present at the bargaining session? Who should be present?
I don't know that, but I do know that in the past for hiring of teachers and of other people that are employed by the Board of Education, every time that they hire somebody, they are inviting a member of the Board of Aldermen, as they have the right to review any new candidate for employment. And they have not. They've declined, and that's frustrating because when it comes down to the Board of Education budget meetings, The Board of Aldermen, not blanketedly, but many members of the Board of Aldermen complain about teacher salaries and complain about that we spend too much on teachers and officials in the Board of Education, when they themselves could be part of that process, and they decline. They just don't show up. And so I have a problem with complaining when you're part of the problem and not part of the solution. And it should be required of somebody on the Board of Aldermen, I believe, to have a presence. They can have a say, but they at least can be a part of the process and to observe and understand what it takes. And it's disconnected at this point in time.
Okay, Mr. Bristol?
I actually can't adequately answer that question either. But I am studying to be a teacher, actually. That's what I'm going to Southern for. That's what my history degree is for. And for the city not to take an active role like that in education is ridiculous. If an alderman is supposed to be at the teacher hiring sessions, then they should be there and not refuse to show up. And as a prospective teacher, I might not want to be a teacher in Shelton because obviously the city doesn't care about me. That's it.
Okay, anything further? All right. Next question goes to Mr. Bristol first. If elected, would you be willing to make playgrounds more accessible and safe for children with disabilities? And the example the questioner gives is Bodie's Place in Norfolk.
Okay. Absolutely. As a resident of Pine Rock Park, area of Shelton, I live within walking distance of 2 parks. One of them is right across the street from my house. It's a basketball court. Hasn't been fixed in, how long has it already been there? Like 24 years? Yeah, that long. It's terrible. It hasn't been repaved in forever. I think they replaced the hoops once. And the other park I live near, about a street down, is a playground for small children. And that park has only been fixed up once or twice. And it's certainly not accessible for handicapped children. That is a big problem with Shelton, is that special needs children or handicapped children aren't really taken into account that much. I know our education system can't handle that many of them, so we send them out of district to other magnet schools, and it's a big problem. What I would do is look at the city's parks as a whole and see what can be done to make them more handicap accessible to children and adults. Our baseball parks, the Riverwalk, the parks I live near, and a few, the playgrounds at the schools. There's a lot of places we can improve here, and it wouldn't cost that much money to do.
Okay, Ms. Bialek?
Yes. I think as a rule, all of our playgrounds should be updated, period. I grew up here just as Timothy did, and we still have the same playscapes at Riverview Park that I played on, I think. And we're not using the Parks and Rec money properly or enough for what is already budgeted. We give back. And we're not upkeeping and we're not updating. And of course they should be handicapped accessible. I mean, that's a no-brainer at this point. We need to be integrated and we need to yes, of course. We don't even spend the money that's allocated. And that doesn't even make sense to me. There are playgrounds in this city that are not typical children accessible. I mean, my kids, I wouldn't want them going on some of them. I went to White Hills, East Village Park. And thanks to Jack Finn, once I did bring it up, he was right on top of it. He was all over it. But I had to tell my children, do not climb on that thing. It's not safe. It was frankly disgusting. And these are things that should be upkept as a regular scheduled maintenance issue. And these things are not upkept. We could have a Wolf Park type center. And we don't. There's one in Monroe, Milford, Trumbull. There are many, many places with much better facilities for our families. We just don't. We have a dog park and we have nice trails, but that's where it stops.
Anything further, Mr. Bristol? Anything further? Okay. This next one goes to Ms. Bialek first, and it's somewhat related. If elected, what would you do to help ensure that the less fortunate children in the community can be involved in extracurricular and community activities?
Well, again, to me, that is a no-brainer. We have the money to include all of our children in all activities. We have a responsibility to care for our children. That's what a community is to care for the people who can do, and as well as the people who can't do. The children and seniors are people who need extra effort because they are both our legacy and our heritage. And we are not doing enough to support these parts of our community, these members that are precious. And the more that we foster and include all children in our community, the better we all are as a community. We cannot say, well, you know what, you have the money to do this so you can play. You don't have the money, sorry, we can't help you. That's deplorable. Especially in a city that has a healthy budget surplus. How can you tell me you have a healthy budget surplus and these children are not able to participate? That's disgusting to me, and I don't use those words lightly. It's not okay. So yes, of course, I believe, especially with a healthy budget surplus, that we can include all children in these activities. And I have nothing else to say on that.
Okay, Mr. Bristol.
I agree. That's it.
The next question should go to Mr. Bristol first, but I apologize that I'm having trouble reading it.
Okay.
It says 2015-2016 6-year capital projects something, I don't know, has been requested or suggested, and what items have been completed, what still needs to be done?
I'm not sure what the question
I'm
is.
not sure. Can somebody in the audience enlighten me? All right, I'm going to pass that. At this point, we still have some time available. If anybody in the audience wishes to ask a question directly to the candidates, they may certainly do so. They'll have to come up here and take the mic. I will request any audience questions to be kept to 15 seconds. If not, we will go to closing statements. Yes, sir.
In the interest of full disclosure, I am a Mayor Already fan. I'm Ron Pavlovsik from Aspetuck Village. I admire your sense of patriotism and civic responsibility. I find you both nice people, but greatly uninformed of the process and procedures and challenges. My question is to Ms. Bialek. How can you possibly hope to be an effective mayor while running 3 businesses, and I think you said raising 6 or 7 kids? I don't know what it is. I've seen different numbers in the newspaper. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The question actually will have to be rephrased. How do you feel you can be an effective mayor, given whatever responsibilities you have, whether family or educational? And Ms. Bialek, we might as well go to you first, since you did.
Okay. First, I would like to point out that our current mayor, when he was elected, had multiple restaurants, multiple children, and he was just about my age. Nobody asked him.
Please hold it.
Secondly, I would like to say that one of my favorite sayings is, you want to get something done, you ask a busy person. I have also, if you forgot to mention that I started a charity in my grandmother's name to foster arts and arts education. And that is going very well. I have a wonderful family and a wonderful support system who believe in me and know that I can do this. And I know I can do this because my love and my passion for the community of this city will be seen, be heard, and be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bristol.
I would like to echo Michelle's sentiments, and busy people are the best people to get things done. Between my job, going to school, and running for mayor now, I have very little time. But if I were to become mayor, I suppose working at Panera would have to go. I mean, they're already calling me Mayor Tim, so. But as far as not knowing the process, I've been a political science and government student for a long time now. I understand how policy works, I understand how to create policy, and I understand how to work within the government. It's something that I feel passionate about. I know this is going to sound weird, but I watch all the debates all the time. Doesn't matter which party, I just watch them. I get as involved as I want into national politics, but I want to be involved in local politics too. Because local politics are the politics that affect us the most directly. We've been talking about education and budgets here, and we're only talking a few $1 million, $10 million at most. That's nothing compared to a federal budget, but it means everything to us. It means everything to this city that we have properly funded education, that we have parks that we can take our children to, that we have all the utilities that we need to operate inside the city. And I think something we and Michele both agree on is how passionate we are about making Shelton a better city.
Anything further?
Yes, I would also like to note that when I do win the mayoral race, I will have a full-time job, and I can allow somebody else to manage the restaurants. That's pretty simple.
Anything further, Mr. Bristol?
No, I'm good.
Are there any other audience questions? Yes. The lady in back and then the gentleman. Yes.
Hi. So as a mom and a working mom in Shelton, one of my biggest concerns is the state of our city. We talk about cleaning up the communities and the playgrounds, but what about the actual community itself? There's graffiti on signs, there's sidewalks that have graffiti on them, there's the Route 8 overpass. We've talked about parts of that, but we also need to clean up the city itself. What are your plans?
All right, as I started the last question with Ms. Bialek, I'm going to start this with Mr. Bristol, and this is civic cleanup.
I think that's a very big issue in the city. I see the graffiti all the time too, especially on a couple of the playgrounds near me. That's partly a budget issue and partly a law enforcement issue. The budget side of that is, once again, we're not spending the money to actually do those things. No one's being sent out to clean up the graffiti on a regular basis because no one wants to spend that money. And it's there to spend. The enforcement part of that is there aren't enough patrols in some of those areas to stop the graffiti, especially at night, because that's when it happens. You know, there's a couple police officers on duty, and they do the best they can, but they have to patrol a city of 40,000 people. There's not enough police officers to do that at night. So I think one thing we could do is make sure that those areas have a couple, just like 1 or 2 extra patrols a night, just to make sure that no one's going out there and defacing public property, and that if they do get caught, then they pay the penalty for that. And that's it.
Okay, Ms. Bialek?
I'll actually feel that in a completely different way. I grew up with my grandmother as the ceramics teacher in the Boys and Girls Club, 35 years. And I would go down on a Friday night with her, and she would hand these kids their tools in their place, their paints, their brushes, and their work of art. And she said, you respect your tools, you respect me, you respect each other. And at the end of a 2-week period, because I had to do a few processes, they were able to take home something that they were proud of. And they had such a sense of pride over this little bunny that had big, huge eyes, and it was poorly painted, and it was, it was a 6-year-old taking this home, but it was theirs. And my approach to this is inclusion. We can have programs for these kids who are bored and don't have support at home, which is why they do these things. It's why they hang out at the pavilion and they graffiti things. How about if we make a mural and let them create it? How about if we include these kids and make them proud of themselves and let them know that they can have something they can be proud of? And that makes them citizens of our community and not just people that we need to police and control. If we take the time and effort to give them the support that they might not have at home, and believe me, I've seen it. I've seen it on a first-hand basis. If we give them that family support and that community support, then we can prevent things like that, and then we can celebrate their unique and specialness as individuals.
Anything for you, Mr. Bristol? Okay. Was there another question in the audience? Yes, the gentleman in blue.
Hi. I just wanted to thank you both for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here tonight to speak with everybody. Unfortunately, unlike that first statement, our mayor is clearly too busy to be here to speak to his town. So thank you. That's all.
That's not a question. All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm not going to be asking a sexist question.
Thank you.
My question has to do with communication. I'm a parent, I'm a taxpayer. School security is a big issue for me. Part of my frustration is being bounced from the Board of Ed, to the Board of Aldermen, to the Public Improvement Building Committee, not getting any answers. As mayor, what would you do to improve lines of communication with the public? Thank you.
All right. This one should probably start with Ms. Bialek? No, with Mr. Bristol. Mr. Bristol.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I answered a question like that earlier, a very similar question. The way I would do that is by opening up myself to the people through the forum that I'm going to create, through, I don't know, you can message me on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. Email me, show up to the mayor's office, say hi. I'll say hi too, we'll have lunch. But the best way to open up yourself to the community is by being in the community. I mean, I was at Shelton Day in my booth all the way down by Shelton Pizza Palace handing out my flyers. And I walked up and down the strip a couple of times, I didn't see Mayor Loretti. And it's just not right that the mayor isn't involved in the community in which he serves. He's accountable to the people. And you would get answers from me. I would give them to you. Maybe not that day, but the next day, because that's what the mayor's supposed to do. Your biggest job as mayor is basically critical thinking, problem solving. Someone comes to you with an issue, and you try and fix it. And you might have to work with some people on it. I would work with the aldermen as much as I could. I was working with each department of the government as much as I could to get whatever problem the people have solved in the correct way. It's really not that hard to do. All you have to do is, go to an office and say, hi, we have this problem, we need it fixed. Okay, well, let's talk a couple hours and see what we can find out. It's not that hard to open yourself up to the city when you're willing to work with the people, not against them.
Okay, Ms. Bialek?
Well, I wholeheartedly agree with Mr. Bristol. Communication starts with us. It's our job. It's our job to be stewards of this community. We are in a servant position. Ego gets thrown out the door. And what the mayor is, in my mind, is a vehicle for this community, for our community, to get what they need, what they deserve. And it's our job to open those lines of communication. We have to form relationships. We have to reach ourselves out to, like Tim said, to our community, open doors everywhere. There is, in my mind, there's nothing that should not be done behind a closed door. I mean, I understand that there are certain sessions where you don't want a whole audience of people, and then it becomes discord and unfunctional. But there's too many closed door meetings. There's too many projects that are done without bidding. I mean, that's ridiculous to me. And we're told to look the other way. When we ask questions of our mayor and the Board of Aldermen, all we get are complaints. I'm not going to blanket that, but a lot of times when I've been to a meeting and I've asked a question, it's complaints. It's complaints about the past. Old grudges, old things that keep coming up, things that don't even exist anymore. We need to look forward through communication, honesty, and cooperation, because that is exactly what our job description is, and you are all our bosses, and we have to answer to you. It's our job, simply.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. Bristol?
One thing. There's a saying in politics that everyone wants to be involved in laws and everyone wants to eat sausage, but no one wants to know how either of those are made. I want to know how the sausage is made. Don't you? Don't you want to see how laws and budgets are passed? Don't you want that to be a public issue instead of a behind the closed doors, they're making the sausage, but no one's telling you what's going in it? I want to know what's in the sausage I'm eating.
Anything for Ms. Bialek?
I'm good, I'm full.
All right, at this point, closing statements, right?
Oh.
One question.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be a very brief. I'm going to ask the candidates whatever the question is to limit the answers to about a minute each.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
I think this is a ringer question.
The clubs at our school are few, and the ones available require you to spend hundreds of dollars to get involved, which is downright wrong. What would you do to curb the cost of extracurricular activities at our schools?
That's not theirs, that's the Board of Ed. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's Board of Ed. I've got to tell you people, as moderator, you do understand that the town proposes, but once the Board of Ed has a budget line, that's it. You can't, it's up to the Board of Ed. The Board of Aldermen and the mayor have no say. That's state law.
We can't tell the Board of Ed.
Yeah, can't tell them what to do. That question is unfortunately out of order. I apologize.
They would give us a budget and we would say, okay, this is our rebuttal for the budget, but we can't make line items like that.
It's illegal. Sorry. All right, at this point I am going to go to, I know there are questions, but unfortunately we've promised the candidates an hour and we are now at the point where we're going to the closing statements. Since Mr. Bristol drew number one, he will get the first close, and then Ms. Bialek will get the second close.
Okay. First, I would like to thank the Shelton Voters League for holding this debate and the JSA for holding this debate. And I would also like to thank our moderator for being here and Michele for being here. We talked a lot about voter apathy throughout this debate and getting people the information they need. through government transparency and openness in budget and stuff like that. I would like to be the advocate for the people that Shelton needs. Mayor Loretti says that I don't know the arena I'm in, but I do know that arena. I'm in it right now, among the people of Shelton. I disagree with Mayor Loretti about how unqualified I am. It doesn't take 24 years of being mayor to actually be mayor. All it takes is passion and knowing the community. Now, I've been in Shelton longer than he's been mayor. I know Shelton. I know the community, and I know the helplessness of the voter in Shelton. Mayor Loretti has said that he does not debate, and by doing so has denied the people proper public discussion and discourse. But that discussion and that discourse is a prime American value. That is a political value that has gone back to ancient Greece and ancient Rome. I will always, as mayor, engage the public in this way and many other ways. I want the people to be heard. And if even one person votes in this election that didn't vote in the last election, I'll consider my campaign a success. To be mayor, I need your help. I need the city of Shelton to vote to end the stagnation of our politics and write my name on the ballot on November 3rd and say with one voice, we need government that works for all of us.
Thank you. Ms. Bialek.
I love this city, and that's a true statement. And anybody that knows me knows how true that statement is. I have become more involved in the processes, or lack thereof, in the last 4 years. I have seen lies, I have seen dismissals, I have seen insults. And that has spurred me into my campaign. I would not be doing this if I did not see this lack of care in our community. The children of our community are getting rained on. My children are getting rained on, and nothing is done about it after 3 years. Senior Center does not have a handicapped accessible entrance. That's not okay. The care of this community is not happening. The business of this community has been built over the last 24 years, and our mayor is very, very proud of that business. And he's kept our taxes low. We can move forward from this point and not have to raise taxes because our money is being misrepresented, not spent correctly, not organized correctly. We need to take our city back with a leader who cares about its community. It's my community, our community. This is where I'm from, and I am ready to take our city to the next era with compassion, communication, creativity, inclusion, and transparency, because I love this city, and I am competent, and I am ready with you.
On behalf of the League of Women Voters, I would like to thank the Shelton Voters Network and all of you in the audience and the candidates for being here. I've got to tell you that at this point, guys, it's up to you. Vote November 3. Thank you.